While I was looking for a place to film today, the place found me. I'm in a broken Soviet tram, and that's more than ironic because today I'm going to talk about socialism. Okay, so this is the kind of stabilization I could only dream about here, but I really don't want to look for another place because I like it here so much. This is such a vibe, to be honest. So, my name is Daria. I grew up in Ukraine, surrounded by people who lived through Soviet equality. And trust me, no one wants it back. The case I'm gonna talk about illustrates how fast the destructive ideas can spread online and take root in youngsters' minds. Socialism and communism trends among young people in the US. Cato YouGov 2025 survey found that 62% of Americans under 30 have a favorable view of socialism. 34 said the same about communism. To compare, another study found that in 2019, that was 40% of Gen Z favorable for socialism, plus 22% in 6 years. Isn't funny, right? For communism, there was 28% of Gen Z in 2020, compared to 34% in 25. Overall, favorable opinions toward Marxism are increasing in the youngest generation, but decreasing or holding steady in older generation. Let's briefly recall what are those three. Socialism. The government or any collective, but generally government, owns and runs businesses instead of private people. You can't start your own company or keep what you earn. Some collective decides who gets what. No entrepreneurs, heavy taxes, the collective controls prices, wages, and production. That's socialism. Communism. In theory, everyone shares everything equally. No government needed, people just cooperate. In practice, the government owns everything. Your job, your home, your food supply. A ruling party decides what you can do, say, and have. No private business, no free choice. Marxism, the philosophy behind both. Marx said society is a war between workers and bosses. His solution was that workers overthrow the owners, abolish private property, and build communism. Is the guy that inspired every socialist and communist revolution. The younger the age group surveyed, the more likely the respondent was to hold a favorable view of socialism. On college campuses, examples abound that show students don't understand or care about the reality of communism. Take the reflexive glorification of notorious Marxist revolutionary figure Che Guevara at the Che Guevara Cafe on the campus of the University of California, San Diego. A quote by Lucia Orlandi, a public relations associate from Washington, presents the issue pretty clearly. I worry that they think the communism of the past wasn't really communism at all, and the true Marxism could actually work if only we would do it right this time. I worry that my generation, crippled by a lack of historical memory, is wrongly dictating which human rights abuses are worth remembering, which parts of history are worth teaching, and whose stories are worth paying attention to. Without an honest, comprehensive understanding of the past, we forfeit humanity's great privilege and perhaps our only saving grace, the ability to learn from and redeem the failures of the past. Has pure socialism never been tried? It has, repeatedly. USSR, China, Cuba, Venezuela, Cambodia, North Korea, Vietnam all began with promises of democratic socialism, before the state swallowed everything. But if socialism fails every time, why does it keep spreading? The answer is when people are tired, socialism sounds compassionate. Who doesn't want everyone to have healthcare, housing, education? It promises fairness when the world feels rigged. It offers a simple solution. You're not responsible for your situation and you don't have to fix it yourself. Just vote for the right people. Take from the rich, they have enough anyway. And everything will be fair. Can't afford rent? It's not the economy, it's greedy landlords. Drowning in debt? It's not your degree choice, it's the system exploiting you. Struggling to get ahead? It's not you losing in competition, it's capitalism keeping you down. But what socialists don't mention is the price, the loss of choice, the loss of freedom, and eventually, when the promises can't be kept, the loss of everything yours. And now a higher percentage of Gen Z in the US, the future of the country, see only the former fairy tale outcomes and develop a favorable view of socialism and bleedy communism. Why is that happening? Let's look at today's typical social media narrative. See my previous video about why the internet is run by the least qualified voices while knowledgeable people stay silent. A massive number of young people spend at least a couple of hours a day online, absorbing ideas and setting the discourse for the coming years. Social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram have become breeding grounds for political discourse. And the thing is that the viral nature of these platforms allows ideas to spread rapidly, reaching young audiences whose minds and viewpoints are still developing. The algorithms amplify emotionally charged, angry, and hostile content because that's what keeps users scrolling. That's why right now, millions of young people are absorbing the idea that ambition is toxic, employers are exploiters, and self-interest is cruelty. TikTok, one of the most popular social media platforms among Gen Z, is full of content framing capitalism, an economic system based on private ownership, free exchange, and voluntary trade, the system that lifted billions out of poverty as the source of all suffering.
Are you depressed, or is it just capitalism? That individualism. Your basic rights keep getting monetized.
Capitalism is a system that actually put importance on profit and growth, not protecting people's life, not satisfying people's desire. Capitalism only does this only insofar as it is useful for making more profit.
The core message: capitalism, horrific sinner with factories whose owners shake hands with politicians and poor people around. Self-interest, exploitation. And who is pushing back? While social media gets filled with promotion of capitalism as an inevitable cause of exploitation and poverty, where are those people telling that free stuff isn't actually free? Margaret Thatcher's message was: the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. What? The free stuff isn't actually free? Yes, it's like paying $5,000 for a 5-star all-inclusive hotel in Turkey and then enjoying everything free inside. Except in this case, people don't often realize that they are the one paying for free stuff. The government creates an illusion by slapping free on everything: free healthcare, free education, free housing, while extracting the cost mostly through taxes. Where are those people telling that profit is not theft, but a proof you created value? The socialist narrative is that profit is exploitation, that bosses steal from workers. But profit only exists when someone creates something others want to buy. If I make a chair and you pay me $10 for it, that $10 is proof that I created $10 worth of value for you. No one forces you to buy the chair, no one forces me to sell it. Profit is the signal that you served others well enough that they voluntarily gave you their money. What are those people telling that socialism doesn't eliminate the rich, but just changes who they are? Every socialist revolution promised to get rid of the elites. Every single one created new elites, just with party members instead of businessmen who create real value. In the USSR, the nomenclatura lived in luxury while ordinary citizens stood in bread lines. In Venezuela, Chavez's daughter became a billionaire while 90% of the population fell into poverty. In Cuba, the Castros lived like kings while Cubans couldn't afford meat. Socialism doesn't eliminate the gap between rich and poor. It eliminates your ability to become rich unless you are in the party. Where are those people telling that collectivism destroys production because it kills incentive? The economy isn't built of robots, it's built of people, each with their own desires, dreams, and reasons to get out of bed in the morning. A baker doesn't wake up at 4 a.m. because he loves humanity in the abstract. He does it because he wants to feed his family, build his business, take pride in his craft, maybe save enough to retire someday. Flourishing depends on the satisfied self-interest, on each person pursuing their own values, creating something of worth and trading voluntarily with others who do the same. The butcher, the brewer, the baker, and others, they serve you not out of charity, but because serving you serves them. And that's precisely why it works. When you remove the connection between effort and rewards, you get stagnation, poverty, and eventual collapse. Where are those people telling that without free prices, you cannot run an economy effectively? Imagine you are in charge of producing shoes for an entire country. How many shoes should you make? What kind? Leather or canvas? Boots or sneakers? For which cities? How much leather do you need? How many workers? To answer these questions, you need an incredible amount of numerical information, constantly changing, across millions of products. In a free market, prices tell you everything. If leather prices rise, it means leather is scarce, so maybe switch to canvas. If boots are selling out while sneakers sit on shelves, make more boots. Prices are information. A socialist system based on central planning would not be able to allocate resources effectively due to the lack of price signals. because the party members are the only people setting those prices. That's why socialist economies result in shortages of things everyone needs. After World War II, Germany had empty shops and a thriving black market. Ludwig Erhard lifted price controls alongside a currency reform. Over one night, products appeared on shelves and the black market disappeared. People had been hoarding because controlled prices made selling unprofitable. Once prices could adjust freely, goods entered the open market. By spring 1939, German production rose from 51% to 78% of its 1936 level. East Germany's communist economy, by contrast, stagnated. Where are those people telling that economic control inevitably becomes political control? Now imagine you are the government. You have a plan for the economy, but people aren't cooperating. They're not working hard enough, they are hoarding, they are trading on the black markets, they are complaining. What do? You force them. You punish the hoarders, imprison the complainers, create a secret police to find the black markets, and make examples of disobedient people. You may not want to be a dictator, but the system requires it. Central planning only works if everyone follows the plan, and the only way to make everyone follow is force. This, in combination with the failures of central planning, slowly leads socialism down the road to an oppressive dictatorship. Where are those people telling that you can't vote yourself out of socialism? Socialism expands the power of the state over every aspect of life: your job, your housing, your healthcare, your education. Once the government controls all of that, what is left under your control? If the state is your employer, your landlord, your doctor, and your teacher, who do you complain to? Who do you vote against? That's why socialist systems don't stay democratic for long. The more power the state has, the more it has to lose, and the less willing it becomes to give it up. Where are those people reminding everyone that these ideologies have a body count of more than 100 million deaths worldwide? Where are those people telling that the world's worst environmental disasters happened under socialism? The Marxist view treated nature as existing solely for human exploitation. No free press, no opposition to stop disastrous policies. The Aral Sea, once the world's fourth largest lake, is considered the greatest human-induced ecological catastrophe in history. Soviet central planners diverted its feeder rivers to grow cotton in the desert. By 2007, the Aral Sea had shrunk to 10% of its original size. Chernobyl, the world's worst nuclear disaster, was a direct result of Soviet corner-cutting and lack of accountability. The Four Passes campaign ordered the killing of hundreds of millions of sparrows, which led directly to millions of deaths when locust populations exploded without their natural predators. The last for now, where are those people telling that socialism has never lifted a country out of poverty? But capitalism did repeatedly. Name one country that became prosperous through pure socialism. Now, here's the list of countries that became prosperous through markets: South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Chile, Estonia, Poland after 1989, China after market reforms. Every single economic miracle of the last century happened when countries moved toward markets. The favorable view of socialism only wins when no one challenged it. The generation absorbing these ideas right now will shape the world we are living in. What they believe matters, and what you say or don't say matters too. You don't need millions of followers. You need one good argument against to speak up. Be visible enough that those youngsters searching for or randomly stumbling upon the opinion can find at least the options. Thank you for watching. That was Daria broadcasting from a tram. Subscribe for more videos exploring freedom outside and inside, and see you soon.